close it, place that cord. Coordinate over to the building.
Go ahead.
So back what I was saying is that we kind of kicked around the idea. I personally don't care too much for the pipe. It's just not something I've ever thought was kind of neat. Then we started talking about it because Doug's like that, and he said, "Why don't we do a Stormtrooper pipe?" And I was like, "Have the black and white and pure white and black and white," and I was like, "God, I don't like you." I was like, "Actually, that sounds really, really cool." So that's kind of what that's the end result of that. But again, like I said before, I mean, we've got the pastel clown, but then we have to get an Xanthic, breed them in, breed them out. So that's many, many, many years down the road. So that's my end game right now.
That's about it. Any questions? Did we do a good job?
You know I will look at the you.
What's your question?
What if you have a street and it doesn't eat for over 100 years?
So your dad and I have talked about your situation. Your mom and I have talked about your situation. Your Draco is fine. He's fine. An adult animal like that will sometimes not eat for a while. In a couple weeks when we get more bedding, we're going to try and just change out the bedding in his enclosure and see if he eats then. If not, we'll probably give it another month, and if he still doesn't eat, then we'll bring him back down here, and we'll put him in a tub, and we'll get him eating. And you'll be able to come see him anytime you want. Yes?
So when you guys say, like, when you're going to try and go for, like, these mixed breeds, like, at the very end, you mentioned breeding them in and breeding them out.
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
Okay, so when you have, in pythons or in reptiles, line breeding is very common because people are trying to create certain things without spending a lot of money on animals.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a recessive gene animal like a spider, or like like the clown, right? So if you breed a normal to the clown, everything's going to be heterozygous, meaning it has one copy of the gene. And it takes both copies to get a visual. Oftentimes, some really big breeders or some people who, I don't know, I don't want to talk bad about people who line breed because I don't know a lot about it. We're not going to do it. It's not something we're going to do. But it is acceptable in the industry. Right, yeah, once. But there's a lot of people that'll go 3 times. So a lot of times in those instances, they would say, if you're working on the clown project, would be a great one for an example. So you breed a normal, a het clown to a het clown, or a normal to a visual. I'll use that example, it's a better example. And you get a bunch of hets. Then they would breed them back to one of the parents to create visuals.
Oh.
And that's what any breeding operation, it's vital to bring in new blood often. And we're not to that point because we haven't even begun to tap all of the combinations that we can create. But at some point in time, we will have reached that point. And maybe, well, I don't know. At the rate that we buy snakes, that'll be a while before we run out of. Because when we moved everything down here, when we built this rack, there was 11 animals in it. And now there's all of these full that we own all but one of those animals. And then our banana, like these ones up here are all ball pythons. These ones here are the hatchlings that we had this year. This one here is one that I just got from my buddy Taylor over in Oregon. This is a little het. This is a little Enchi het clown. So she's going to fit into that Stormtrooper project somewhere because the Enchi's a codom, and we'll breed her to a het clown or a pastel clown, and we'll get we statistically, we should get some of the animals that we need to continue that project. So, a lot of these recessive projects, and somebody had asked about the cost of snakes. It's worth talking about because there's a reason why normals are $50 or $75 at Petco, and recessive gene animals are a lot more. And it's because it takes a long, long time to produce those visuals of those recessives. I mean, that pastel clown, that's a $700 animal all day long. I mean, that's what they cost out there, plus shipping. We stole it. I mean, we got a really, really good deal on it, but, you know, there's some of these animals that we've paid a lot of money for, and they fit into our project somewhere. So, I did say there's a couple other things that I do want to talk about that aren't on the outline. I did say we were going to do a drawing for a free ball python. So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that. I'll figure that out here right quick. But we're going to give away. Yep. Is that the end sheet looking one? Okay. Yeah, we'll do that one. So we're going to give away a normal ball python that we feel is worth about $50. If it's not an animal that you want, we'll give you store credit. If it doesn't fit into your project or it's not a pet that you want, and you don't have to take it today. It's one of those things that if you don't have an enclosure ready, please, it can stay here for a while. It's okay. So
This is a male.
it is a male. He probably won't get a lot bigger than that. The males do stay quite a bit smaller. I think he's, what, 1,100 grams? So, but yeah, that's really about it. So are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay. So the drawing will have to be people 18 and older, right? I can't give animals to people who are adults. Yes, okay, so everybody that wants to see the babies, please come up front. I'll open up their tubs. Well, I'll get the twins out.